Yeah, so I shall bring White House Louboutin and
What would you look?
yeah,
I think you purposely
I do that online. I try to catch them when they go.
Why would tell us what that out there? That's crazy, right?
It's really good.
I got a lot of points. This is a trick question. Yeah. Not a trick question. Yes, exactly.
You just have to work it. It's just
Good morning.
Yeah.
You need to go out.
Oh my God, all of them.
Every single one of them. No one heard you.
I know, no one did hear me. That's because I was
It's okay, I
like,
just
too.
thought, you know.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. So today, Justin and I are going to go over the law of design and the law of collaboration, and then we're going to follow it up with Liz's topics. So the law of design, to maximize growth, you must develop strategies. If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you will fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they may have planned for you? Not much. So glancing backward and planning forward, this is really just taking a look at what you did over the last year, taking inventory of what worked, what didn't, and taking that all into account for moving forward. So we really did that in the business planning class that our partners did. So take a look at your meetings, your appointments, your activities, consider what you should do more of, what you should do less of, and maybe what you can eliminate altogether. This will help you to develop strategies for the new year. Even if you didn't accomplish some things that you had planned last year, it's all just a learning lesson. You can take it moving into the new year. So for marketing, we kind of do this almost on like a daily basis, but we really did it at the end of December too, just looking at what worked, what didn't, what we need to do more of, maybe what we can come back on. And that's part of the riddles that we've been doing is those videos do really well for us. So I know some of you guys don't like them, but you'll see more of them. Those are our best videos, so we're gonna keep doing those.
Our challenge is I love you.
So there are 4 tips to help you plan and strategize for your life and growth. So number 1 is life is very simple, but keeping it that way is very difficult. And I think we can probably all agree with that. You set your day out, you have a few tasks planned out, you think you're gonna sit down, you're gonna just work on it. And what happens? Stuff comes up. You get a call from a client, you get a call from your kid, stuff happens, life happens. So it's a matter of knowing your values, making some key decisions based on those values, and then managing those decisions on a day-to-day basis. Life has a way of becoming complicated, but through great effort, you can keep it simple. So there are 3 questions to ask when making a simplicity strategy work. So the 3 questions. Can it be received personally? It must be internalized and transform the soul of the leader. Number 2, can it be repeated easily and must be passed on after only a brief encounter? Number 3, can it be transferred strategically and must be passed on globally to all cultural contexts? So is it personal? Can it be repeated? And can you transfer it? These questions will help you battle against the complexity in everyday life so you can focus on strategies that serve you and your growth. Number 2, designing your life is more important than designing your career. If you plan your life well, your career will work itself out. So people really focus on what they think will give them the greatest return. If you start working on something and you're like, this really isn't going to serve me, or you don't think it's going to serve you, are you going to put the effort into planning it? Probably not. So if you don't believe you can succeed in your life, you're not likely to give it the planning attention that it deserves. Planning your life is about finding yourself, knowing who you are, and then customizing a design for your growth. And then once you design the blueprint for your life, you can then apply it to your career. And number 3, life is not a dress rehearsal. There is no warm up for life. There is no dress rehearsal. People go out with no preparation and figure out as they go, which that's what life is. We have no blueprint. There's no rule book. There's no guidebook of what we should be doing. We all have different scenarios that we're facing, and you just kind of have to give it your best shot. But you can take the knowledge that you have and make the best decision that you have with that knowledge in that moment. So there was a study conducted by a behavioral scientist of what 70-year-olds answered when asked what they would do differently if they could live their lives over again. What do you guys think some of those answers were?
From a 7-year-old?
70.
Oh, 70.
Take more chances,
More chances,
more risk.
more risk.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Don't worry about the pays.
So some of them, in addition to those, were taking better care of their health, spending more time with their family, and managing their money better. But the number one ranked answer was, I should have taken charge of my life and set my goals earlier. Life isn't practice, it's the real thing. So you only get one shot at this life. We're only here for one life, right? So you have to do the best you can in each moment. So taking into account what you know, what you have available to you, and just doing your best at it. Every little decision that we make throughout the day is going to impact our life. You guys made a lot of decisions up until this point in the morning that are going to affect your day, going to affect the rest of your week. You guys here right now, you guys made the decision to work on your personal growth. So think of where you're going to be at the end of this year, just making this decision to be here for these classes. So you only live once, but if you do it right, once is enough. And number 4, in planning your life, multiply everything by 2. But I think this really comes down to, like, when you're planning on doing things take longer than we expect and cost more than we anticipate. This is also true when it comes to personal development, but you think of like a construction project, are they ever on time or on budget? Like hardly ever. And when I was reading this, I was thinking about my house. I just bought a house, and one of the first things we did was painting. And I was like, my house is not big. How long is it gonna take? And then like you're starting to fill holes. I have to retexture everything. There's the prep work. And then like a month later, my house is painted. I'm like, I thought this was gonna take a couple weekends. It literally took like at least double the time. So if you think a task is going to take an hour, a lot, at least 2 hours. This practice will help to infuse realism into your optimism when planning to reach your goals. And this will just help you avoid kind of that burnout. Remember, good things take time to grow. Allow yourself the time to grow slowly and with deep roots. As you develop strategies for growth, give yourself the time and resources you need. This will help to keep you from becoming discouraged and giving up too soon. So most accomplishments in life come more easily if we do approach them with a strategy. And even if you accomplish something that like really didn't have a strategy, you just kind of went and did it and it worked, that does happen. But that's not repeatable. So you want to approach things with a strategy that you can repeat. And you do this by creating systems. So there's 6 characteristics of what systems include. Number 1 is effective systems take the big picture into account. So will the system help you reach your big picture goal? Number 2, effective systems make use of priorities. Is the system consistent with your values and your commitments? Number 3, effective systems include measurement. Does the system give you a tangible way to judge if you've succeeded? Number 4, effective systems include application. Does the system have a built-in bias towards action? Number 5, effective systems employ organization. Does it make better use of your time than what you're doing currently? And number 6, effective systems promote consistency. Can you easily repeat the system on a regular basis? So now that we've gone over the systems, there are 3 ways that you can apply the law of design to your own life. So number 1, take time to assess which areas in your life receive most of your strategic planning. So your career, your family, your health, your personal growth. Have you been strategic in your approach to designing how you want these areas of your life to be? Number 2, begin developing or refining systems for yourself that will maximize your time and increase your efficiency. So this goes back to the 6 characteristics that systems include. And then number 3, don't overcomplicate strategies. Test them on a friend to see if they pass 2 tests. So test number 1 is, can you clearly and concisely explain it to them? And number 2, see if they know of a better or simpler way of doing it. Because we all have different ways of doing things. And maybe you think you have this great idea and your friend or colleague or whatever has a better idea and a better system. And you can adapt to that one as well. And so From there, we will move on to the law of contribution. Kristen.
Good job.
So my part is the law of contribution. Growing yourself enables you to grow others. So Morgan and I were trying to figure out like how, because whenever we teach a class, we always relate it to marketing or social media or some ways like that. But we're like, we're just gonna take this chapter as what it is. And a lot of this stuff is like personal growth and how you can help others. So we're gonna teach it the way the book is taught. You cannot give what you don't have. But if you have work to learn or earn something, you have the ability to pass it on to others. Like we're doing now, right? These are all realtors, we're in the real estate industry. One person might know something, the other person might not know the other thing. Something new came up in the RPA that the other person doesn't know about, and then we all come together. For Sonia yesterday, the contracts and forms class, and then we all shared knowledge about the forms. Benjamin Franklin would do this in the morning and the evening, would ask himself these questions every day. What good shall I do today? What good have I done today in the evening? Becoming more intentional with your ability to help others. Find mentors that live by the law of contribution, and you're more likely to also embody it. Be a river, not a reservoir. Most people who do make personal growth a part of their lives do it and add value to themselves. For example, just like our series, we have different personalities and different ways to teach something, uplifting and empowering each other. In contrast, a river flows, whatever it receives, it gives away. This requires an abundance mindset, a belief that we will keep receiving. As long as you are dedicated to personal growth, you'll never experience scarcity and always have much to give. So as I'm gonna read these questions, find someone who encouraged us, and then become an encouragement to others. Questions to think about when trying to identify this person to you. Okay, so start thinking about the person in your head, about who this might be. Who mentors you and offers a baseline of wisdom? Who mentors you to aspire to be a better person? Who challenges you to think? Who cheers on your dreams? Who cares enough to challenge you? Who is merciful when you have failed? Who shares the load and pressurized moments without being asked? Who brings fun and laughter into your life? Who gives you perspective when you become dispirited? Who inspires you to seek faithfully after God? Who loves you unconditionally? I'm pretty sure you guys are already thinking who that person is in your life, right?
It's you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Especially marketing part.
Of course.
Hashtag marketing.
Exactly.
I don't. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you, thank you. That's a good question.
So now you have to live up to that.
I know.
No pressure.
Suggestions to help you cultivate an attitude of contribution. Be grateful. Put people first. Don't let stuff own you. Don't let people own you. Define success as sowing and not reaping. Focus on self-development, not self-fulfillment. Keep growing to keep giving.
It's a good one.
If you want to make your life burn brightly for others and future generations, keep growing. So there's a little exercise. Everybody has a phone or pen and paper. Write down top 3 goals and dreams. You want to do that now? Take a couple minutes. Or if you guys already have them in your head, it's fine too. And then step 2 of that would be write down the names of the most important people in your life. Another minute or so.
Just kidding.
Everybody pretty good? All right, we're gonna move on here. So be honest with yourself. Which comes first, the people or the goals and dreams? It's a pretty interesting question. Let's see what's first. And we're all different parts of our lives, so it's all gonna be in different orders, but really think about it because they'll help you determine what you wanna do with. So I'll leave with this. This is probably a really cool quote. Make the decision to put others ahead of your own agenda. Put your family ahead of your own agenda. Serve others instead of yourself. And remember, sometimes the seeds you sow take a long time to grow, but you'll always see a harvest. And that's the marketing team's presentation.
That's like the shortest presentation ever.
That was 30 minutes.
That was good.
3 minutes.
20.
You had to leave.
You covered it all.
I know.
Oh,
What's the?
Wait,
What's
Harlow.
Everybody's like, wait.
Okay,
Harlow.
My oldest is Harlow, and then
Luna.
my youngest is Luna. Yeah.
Oh, so
beautiful.
beautiful. Oh,
You're adorable.
That's a perfect ending.
She looks like you.
Yeah, the oldest looks like me, and the other one looks like.
But she's pretty, they're both pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful.
Oh, you got it on there already?
Yeah, I got it.
So then you would.
Okay. It's a good presentation. Very clear.
That's fine.
Got it? Did you get a clip of it? I'll do it.
All right, good morning, everyone. So I have the law of the ladder. Doesn't mean that we're gonna be climbing ladders and we're not fire people. I mean, wouldn't that be nice though? So we're the law of the ladder. So character growth determines the height of your personal growth. So let's move to this. Ask yourself this: what values, personal traits, or characteristics do you look for and admire in a leader? Anyone, please. This is an open forum. So ask yourself this, but I'm asking you. What values, personal traits, or characteristics do you look for and admire in a leader?
Sincerity.
Integrity.
The way they handle situations is really.
Anybody else? Do you want to know the number one characteristic that people look for in a leader? Anybody? Thank you. Honesty. Honesty is at the top of the list. Honesty doesn't mean just being honest to others, but being honest and true to yourself, because that shows character. People can be leaders, but if they're not honest with others and they're not honest to themselves or stay true to themselves as being honest, they're gonna blow it as a leader. Next, character growth determines the height of your personal growth, says by John Maxwell. How many of you guys can agree to that? Character growth determines the height of your personal growth. We reap what we sow. If we neglect our hearts, our mind and soul, it changes who you are on the outside as well on the inside. Would you agree? Yes. So if we neglect our hearts, so if we don't go to the doctor, our minds, if we don't rest or relax, and our soul, if we don't take care of ourselves, what ends up happening? We end up falling ill or basically damaging our insides. That at the end of the day, what happens? It's a reflection of our outsides. So we don't want that. We want to take care of ourselves. So when creating character and building character, you have to accept and take responsibility for change. That's something true that you have to keep to yourself. If you're going to build character, accept the responsibility that comes with it and take a responsibility for the change that you do. It's a commitment, in other words. Making a commitment to yourself that the change that you do on the inside will reflect your outside and it will take notice. So perfect example. We decide to go on a diet. We go to the gym. We change everything, right? What we eat, going to the gym. It starts helping us on the inside, and eventually, what happens on the outside? You start showing. Because you're taking care of yourself, you start shrinking, inches fall off, weight. You get happy, and that's a great thing everybody will see. That is being honest with yourself. And what was the number one trait that people look for in leaders? It's honesty. Okay, so if we're honest with ourselves, there's a lot of growth that comes along with it. So John Maxwell talks about the character ladder. So there's 5 character ladders. So one of them, character matters. You're gonna notice that on the 5, at the second word, what does it say? Matters. So number 1, character matters. Character represents who we are on the inside. If you focus on your inside, over time, you will become better on the outside. So again, we focus on our mind, soul, our hearts, everything that goes on the inside will end up coming better on the outside. Number 2, people matter. So there's a golden rule. Ask yourself what you want people to do for you, then grab the initiative and do it for them. This will lead you to become empathetic. Do we know what it is to be empathetic? Do we know that feeling? I taught that series in emotional intelligence, and that was one thing that I was like, oh my gosh, I can't stand that word empathetic because everybody says they feel everything. No, but in reality, there's more to it than that. If you help others grow, if you care about people, it matters. So in this case, people matter. If you show that, you're displaying good character. Number 3, passion matters. What do they call a speaker who teaches what they don't believe or actually do?
Hypocrite.
Thank you. That was the answer. Answer is a hypocrite. Borrowed beliefs have no passion. So if we're up here and we're talking about something, we would hope that, or whatever we teach, we would hope that we have and we've established passion within ourselves about what we're teaching. Because we don't want to teach something that we don't believe in. We want to teach something that we're going to excel in, that we have that belief, that we know that what we teach, we're going to move forward in life, in our daily days. But that's where passion comes from within. Be passionate and focus on real relationships, equipping, attitude, and leadership. When you display passion, again, what happens? It shows on the outside. When you have it from within, it will show on the outside. Again, this is building character. Here's food for thought. Everything rises and falls on leadership. If you lack principles, character, and passion, you're plain. Isn't that hard? That's like, oof, it reaches inside. So I'll say that again. If you lack principles, character, and passion, you're plain as a bagel.
A plain bagel.
Say that, it's a plain bagel. No one likes a plain bagel, right? No one. They like some seasoning, some whatever you guys put on there. No one likes that. I know. I don't want to get you guys hungry. Sorry. I'm trying to make this I'm trying to make people laugh here, okay? Number 4, perspectives matter. Have grace. Be teachable. Be willing to serve others. Be grateful. Have humility. Like the little things that you can do, perspective matters. Be willing to serve others without the intention of you need something back from it. No, it's from within. Again, this is building character. There's a great proverb that's in the book, so I'm going to read it to you guys. Those who drink the water must remember who dug the well. Every accomplishment, every milestone is because of the efforts of others. There are no self-made men or women, even though there's some people say, oh, I'm self-made. You're right. You read a book. You heard somebody say something. If we will remember this, you'll experience gratitude. Isn't that beautiful? Gratitude is like the best. Number 5, faithfulness matters. You will strive to finish well. If you take control of your behavior, your emotions will fall into place. Recognize that emotion follows motion. That's a good saying. It goes back to back. Recognize that emotion follows motion. So emotional, or you're reactive and you're like all over the place, well, don't go to going and killing or punching a hole. No, take a breather, analyze the situation, and then decipher what you're gonna do next. So that is the law of the ladder. So we'll move next to the law of trade-offs. You have to give up to grow up. So it's funny because I had read the first chapter more times than I read this one. So this one, I ended up reading it, and I was like, okay, what is it really trying to say? Then I ended up hearing it, and I was like, okay. And there's a cheat sheet that I downloaded, and I'm like, okay, I kept reading it. So I was like, there has to be something here that I need to figure out, what is this all about? And I had an aha moment right next to my dog, because then he started hearing John Maxwell with me on the Audible. The law of trade-offs. So these are a bunch of trade-offs, and we experience them in life. But the one thing that I noticed out of all of this is that since we experience it in life, what is like the main word for it that I can actually see out of this? And I'll explain. So 1, trade-offs are available to us throughout life. 2, trade-offs are opportunities for growth. 3, trade-offs force us to make difficult changes. 4, the loss of a trade-off is usually felt long before the gain. 5, most trade-offs can be made at any time. 6, a few trade-offs come only once. 7, the higher you climb, the tougher the trade-offs. 8, trade-offs never leave us the same. 9, some trade-offs are never worth the price. Is it me, or have we experienced this in our work, in our business?
Yes.
We have, right?
Yes.
Out of all of this, the word that comes to my mind is risks. I call these risks. So we go through these. We go through each and every one of these. We have to make difficult decisions in our life and our business. We have to make, if we're business owners, which we are, because we're what? Entrepreneurs. We have to make decisions whether we want to work with a client or not work with a client. If we want to hire staff or let go of staff. We have to make difficult decisions, and sometimes those decisions we don't want to make. Why is that? Because of fear. Fear that, no, it's okay where I'm at. When I kept reading through this chapter, I started noticing, I'm like, who comes to mind in regards to this? I'm like, okay, I know that person, I'll discuss later. But we have a fear, and we're so stagnant, and we're so complacent, so comfortable, I think that's the word, of not wanting to make tough decisions that will create better opportunity of grandeur. We don't have a crystal ball, and we have to make that one slight tweak in our business so that it can get better. So obviously, Jennifer and Sonia and myself, we own offices. We have to make decisions all the time. Sometimes it might not be the best ones, and sometimes it might be the good ones. But the thing is that when we do make a decision, it may not happen right then and there where everything gets better, but eventually it does. So think about it, guys. These are risks that we have to deal with. Yes, ma'am.
I tell my clients everything's a trade-off when I'm showing property or when the seller with the price and all that. And I said, okay, what's more important to you? Is you getting this price, or you selling it quickly? Or the buyer, what's more important, that it has a porch or that it has central air? Or, I tell them everything in life is a trade-off. What's more important to you? And they understand. When I put it to them that way, they understand.
Because there's value there. That is a trade-off. Like when I hear trade-offs, I'm not even thinking about, stock market. I'm going to trade this to get this. It could be that, because some people do that. That's their job. They trade a stock or they sell something to get something better. They take a risk. We take a risk every day. Whether it's at home or in our business, there is a risk, but the risk should be taken, because if we don't ever take risks, guess what? We don't grow. And what's this book about? Growing and developing. So let's look at this. Trade-offs worth making. So these are some things that we need to question ourselves. At number one, I am willing to give up financial security today for potential. So the only job security we have is who? Is our individual commitment to personal development. Learn to value opportunity over security, even if it's at a cost. So in this chapter, it's funny because there was a guy that ended up working at Coca-Cola, but he was young professional. He was working for Coca-Cola, and what ended up doing, he wanted his future was to become a president or become a CEO, being in the top notch. So he decided to leave his Coca-Cola job. He had told his boss, hey, you know what? I want to do this, but I don't find any growth here. He was willing to sacrifice his job at that location, and guess where he went? He went
Pepsi?
no, the total opposite. Not Pepsi, not the competitor. No, no. Guess what? Like, do you know what this is?
Oh, fast food.
Thank you, Burger King. He went to flipping burgers.
I love charades.
She made that. Listen, I'm glad. You know what? I'm glad you like charades. I couldn't get the riddle, but I gave it charades. Okay. He went to flipping burgers at Burger King. Okay. He went to Burger King University. There is a Burger University, like In-N-Out, I think, has their own thing. So he went to Burger King University, and he went from high to low. He did the platform at university, became a manager of regional, and then he got the opportunity of a lifetime. Again, are we willing to give financial security today for potential, so for an opportunity in the future? That's what he did. He went to Burger King. Guess where he went after that? Here's another one for charades. What is that character during the holidays or during the summer, I don't know where you go like this to the stomach? And he goes, woo-hoo!
Oh.
He went to Pillsbury. He went to Pillsbury. And what did he end up doing? He got to the top tier. So the question, do you need to learn to value opportunity over security, even if it's at a cost? So let me go to that story that I wanted to say in regards to what I said in the last slide. So everybody knows Danny, right? Danny, I talk about him all the time. He knows. I disclosed this to him. He signed a retainer. I love the guy, let me tell you. But okay, so he's worked in what? Car sales. Okay. He wants to transition over to real estate. He's having a difficult time because of the security of what? The pay. Okay. What happens in real estate? So in his terms is, we make a whole lump sum of money, and we're rich during that time, and then you guys have to continue getting a business. While in his case, every other week he's getting what? Secure, paycheck to paycheck. But he finally had that aha moment, which is what I love about you guys in your business is the fact that you are able to decide when you're gonna work. You have more time for family. So what does he want to do now? He wants to transition over. He is willing to give that financial security because he sees the opportunity and the long run of jumping over to our business. So that's an example right there. Number 2, I am willing to give up immediate gratification for personal growth. When it comes to, why is my thing not working? When it comes to growth and success, immediate gratification is the enemy of growth. Do you guys know what that means?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that phrase. When it comes to growth and success, immediate gratification is the enemy of growth. I say the high is short-lived. Number 3, I am willing to give up the fast life for the good life. Who remembers when they were in their 20s? We all do, right? We took risks. We didn't care. We swerved on the highway. We did whatever we wanted. Well, I mean, I did.
Still do.
I just drive, on the defense, like Fast and Furious. I am willing to give the fast life for the good life. John Maxwell tells us, work smarter, not harder. Take control of your calendar or others will. Isn't that kind of funny? Because in our business, do we want the client to control us? No. Sometimes they do, right? So now we have to learn how to cut that off and actually turn it around. You have to take control of your calendar or others will. Do what you love because it will give you energy. Who loves what they do? You do, right? Everybody does. Well, I know everybody does. Now, if you don't, then that's a different subject. But if you love what you do, you put more energy and you put more consistency and you're more dedicated to it. So that's what John Maxwell says. Work harder, not smarter. Number 4, I am willing to give security for significance. Does anybody know what that means? I'm willing to give security for significance. Guess what?
It says, I'm willing to give up.
Exactly. Are you willing to give up security for significance? Terry.
What does that mean to you?
You know, I was gonna pick on you. This whole class is for you. I'm just kidding. You'll never get anywhere interesting if you're doing the safe thing. Who wants to be safe?
Some people do.
Why? And you know what happens when you're safe, right?
You stay there.
Thank you. There's no growth. If you're safe, there's no growth. What's the word that I said in the beginning of this class that I find that it's like it all relates together? Risk. If you don't take risk, you're safe. And if you stay safe, you're going to stay safe in the long run. So you'll never get anywhere interesting if you're doing the safe thing. Help and guide others to grow and become significant. That's a trade-off. So remember that phrase, help and guide others to grow and become significant. Don't just help yourself. I mean, we can all help ourselves and that's just being selfish, but remember what that phrase is, you reap what you sow. Help others grow and you become significant. We want that. That it comes back and it pays you back tenfold. It's a good thing. Last one. I am willing to give up addition for multiplication. Does anybody know this? What is it? This equation? I am willing to give up addition for multiplication.
Busyness, too much, scattered.
The addition part is what can I do for others? Does anybody want to stay in that? Addition? Think about it. I want to go back to that. I am willing to give up addition for multiplication. John Maxwell in the book says that what I can do for others, that's addition. To multiply, it's best to ask, what can I do with others?
Collaboration.
Isn't that nice?
Collaboration.
With others?
With others. What can I do for others? What can I do for Ursi? What can I do with Ursi? How can I collaborate with you? If you think about it, partners here, staff here, we collaborate with you. It's not what I can do for you. We collaborate with you. We're on top of our game here because why? We want to see you multiply and grow. That's a great thing. So to multiply is best to ask what I can do with others. So I'll leave with this. What trade do you need to make now that you have been unwilling to make? That's a question. What trade are you willing to leave now that you have been unwilling to make? Most people settle in and learn to live with a limitation or barrier that can be removed by making a trade. What is the next thing you need to trade for? And what must you give up to succeed? Oh, that left you guys all quiet. Kind of thinking, huh? So I hope you guys learned the law of the trade-offs. If honestly, I'll put it to you this way. Something that I want to just briefly say. Risk is hard. Let's just say, does anybody want to jump off a building? No, but they do it. It's a risk, okay? Does anybody want to curse out people? Of course they do. They do it all the time. It's the risk that they take. But at the end of the day, here's the thing: with no risk, there's no reward. So if you want, I'll put it to you this way: I used to be the type of person. I've spoken to Yvette about this, so I'm going to pick on her for a little bit because I know how she thinks because we've gotten to know each other really well. She's very analytical, so am I. Super analytical, super. We don't like to make decisions, or I used to not like to make decisions relatively quick because I had to do the pros and the cons. I had to put a big old list and say, okay, pros and cons. Okay, if I do it this way, then this might happen. It's not, you don't know, you're always like second guessing yourself. So I ended up thinking that that's self-sabotage. Why am I gonna self-sabotage myself, my life, my decisions. Shoot, you know what? I might as well just plunge in like the people do at the end of the year. They plunge into the Antarctic waters and they don't care and they still live, but they feel a good high about it. And if they suffer from it, they learn, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. And if they don't, they'll continue doing it. So all in all I can say is if you can take risks and know what those risks are going to be, you're not going to know what they're going to be doing for you, but learn from it. Because you only have one chance to take a risk. That risk may not ever come again. You never know. You don't want to stay stagnant. You always want to continue multiplying. Okay? And that's it.
Wow.
Oh, I finished right on time. Okay, that's good. So next up, because we have another speaker.
Oh.
No, just kidding. She's doing her class. No, just kidding. Sylvia, would you please come up here and share some news for us?
Of course. This is gonna be short. It's gonna be maybe a couple minutes. Shot. That I would talk for hours. All right, guys. So as part of the growth, hi, I'm Sylvia. I'm with Champions Mortgage. I'm one of your senior loan officers here. Been here since, I don't know, 2018, I think. Been in the industry for many, many years after that or before that. So what we're trying to do as part of Champions Mortgage to try to continue growing and helping you is try to give you more tools so that you can help your clients. I'm hoping to add a few words, either give you updates on rates or programs that are being added into lending or programs that are being let go. So we'll try to do that after every class. Since you guys are already here, you don't have to attend another class. But today's rates, so conventional is offering you a 6.5 30-year fix, and an FHA is offering you a 6.125. Now, there's benefits to both. I usually try to, when a client calls me and tells me, what's today's rates? Well, sometimes we have to remind them, well, it depends. I mean, are you coming in with 20%? Are you trying to buy more? Is your income limited? Are you adding a cosigner? Are you trying to buy multiple homes in the future? So there's a lot of things that we can try to guide them through it, but I'm here all day. So if you have any questions, reach out to me.
Oh, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Right. I have a condo in Glendale, and they're not Fannie Mae approved.
Okay.
The lender found out.
Okay.
He should have found out probably earlier. I'm representing the seller.
Okay.
So when that happens, you have to go through outside sources, outside lending? Is that?
Yes, so okay, let me make sure I understand. So you're saying that it's not Fannie Mae approved,
The
meaning
complex.
the complex,
The
okay,
complex.
which
They
usually
didn't pay-
means,
They didn't pay the 2010, something they didn't pay, and so Fannie Mae will not allow. So what's alternatives?
usually what that means is they have to be approved through FHA and they have to meet certain requirements, which is every year they have to do that. The alternative to that is usually do conventional if they're able to do that, because conventional financing normally does not go by what FHA approves and doesn't approve. And obviously there's non-QM products out there as well. I try not to rely on those because those non-QM products don't go with FHA and Fannie Mae, which means they can come and go anytime. They can disappear today versus conventional and FHA. So I would have to say, look into conventional financing and see if they're able to do that. Give me their information on that. Maybe I'll be able to help them. Okay, any other questions?
I was gonna ask about the VA interest rate.
The VA, you know what, I don't have that, but I think I have your number. I'll text it to you on what it is today. But gotta remember that a lot of these rates that are there today, they're not locked in until you have a property and then you lock your rate for 30 days. So
What do you think the rate's gonna do? I know you don't have a crystal ball, but what is in the next couple months?
well, we're seeing that they have stopped increasing, which is a plus for us. I feel that is probably you're gonna start seeing a little bit of downturn, but nothing drastic, nothing that we're gonna see, 5-4% or whatever. And I think at some point, consumers are gonna realize, okay, this is the new norm. And it's up to us to start educating them and letting them know their options, meaning you can buy points, maybe you can, you can do this. What I usually tell my clients when I'm trying to pre-qualifying, I say, this may not be your forever home. Why not get your foot in the door, buy something smaller, build the equity so that when you do buy your next home, all this equity, you can buy points, you can refinance it, you can do all this other stuff. But to answer your question, I think we're looking better than we did the last quarter, where we're not going up anymore, at least not now, and we're probably gonna see some downturn in the next couple months.
Sylvia, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
On my listings, sometimes the sellers, I'm recommending or suggesting that the sellers pay some of the buyers closing costs or either do a buy down. So if they were to do a buy down, how much is it for a 3-2-1 buy down? How much would that cost per point?
There's no specific amount per point because it's calculated like this. So let's say, for example, at 6% out of every payment, it's in your situation, whatever rate they're giving you 6%. Out of interest is going to be $2,000 in interest. So they'll multiply that times 36 months, and that's your cost. So they're collecting all that interest up front so that they can deduct that from the first year. So it's not a set amount for every transaction. It's based on loan amount, based on interest rate that you're starting in, and if you're going to do a 3, a 2, or 1 buy down. So it varies. It's not a set amount. It's not 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. It's not a set amount.
Okay.
It depends on where the market is at that time, at that moment. But I do think it's a good program, that 3-1 buy down, especially because it gives you a couple years for your rates to get a little bit better, and then there's no prepaid penalty on those. So I don't know if you guys know what that 3-1 buy down or 2-1 buy down. So basically what that is today's rates are 6.5, but I want to do a 3-1 buy down. That means my first year is 3.5. 3-1 buy down, that means the first year is 3.5, the second year is 4.5, and the next year after that is 5.5, and then it locks in at 6.5, the way it's supposed to be. And there's a big cost to that has to be paid by the seller. Has to be. It can't be paid by the buyer. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome. Well, thank you for your questions. I appreciate that. So anything else, I'm here all day, so feel free to call me, reach out to me anytime. And thank you for the speakers. You guys did amazing. So